Hello guys, how you doing? You're welcome once again. I'm still your man, Santa Claus, giving you the daily dose of knowledge and wisdom. Compliments of the Sunday. A lot of people did not go to church today because of the lockdown, but well, how would they do? Anyway, I wish you all well and a pleasant day. Alright, today we'll be talking about the transatlantic slave trade. This is a trade that happened in Africa. It's a trade in human cargo, human beings. Now, this is a part of history that they don't want you to know. They tell you about the Jewish Holocaust. They tell you about other people's black history, about their own tainted histories, but they don't tell you about this one. But today we'll try and look at it as objectively as possible. Alright, this is a trade in human cargo that existed between the 16th century to the 20th century. The Portuguese were the first to make contact with the African continent, by the Europeans, first Europeans to make contact, and they had their own reasons for leaving their continent. Before that, let's talk about slavery as itself. Slavery is not new to Africa. We had slaves. Slaves were prisoners of war. Slaves were this kind of tributes that you pay to another community. Now, in the case of intertribal wars, there were prisoners of war. When this community fights with this community and this community wins, they definitely take some of your soldiers to their own king as a sign of victory, as tribute to their king. As such, these people were slaves in another man's kingdom, although it depended on the attitudes of the slave master. If the slave master were to be a kind person, the slave could have rights, own properties, even marry. But if the slave master were to be a wicked person, wow, you can imagine the inhuman treatment that will fall upon the slave. So these institutions were not new to Africa, and moreover, we had the trans-Saharan trade already, which was a trade between the Arabians and the Africans, where the Berbers and the Tuaregs the Berbers especially were moving slaves through the trans-Saharan routes to the Arabia via the Red Sea and Northern Africa and all those sides of Africa that Arab was in control as at then. So in exchange for goods and services like gold and slaves that were sold to the Europeans. And as at then, these black people that were sold to the Europeans were seen as an exotic good. I'm having a black slave. You know what it meant then? It was a big deal. But it was not so elaborate like this trans-Saharan trade. Transatlantic trade rather. This transatlantic trade was something else. Alright, let's look at some reasons why the Europeans had to leave their place and then start embarking on voyages. Earlier in the 13th century, Marco Polo had made his maiden voyage to the court of the Khan of China, and seeing his exotic grandeur, he was impressed and wrote a lot about it, talking about the availability of spice, tea, sugar, and all these commodities were not known in Europe as at then. So they now wanted to find an alternative route to that place. So instead of going through the normal route that Marco Polo followed, they wanted to look for other routes and thereby in the process discovering new places. Another reason was to escape persecution from the Ottoman Turks. You know, there was a time when the Ottoman Turks nearly wiped out Christendom from the face of the earth. It wasn't easy, so a lot of them had to flee and look for seek refuge. Another reason again was the search for gold. You know, the old Malian Empire under Mansa Musa was the greatest of all goods of all empires trading in gold. Mansa Musa was said to have been supplying up to half of the world gold. He is still said to be the richest man of all time. And then the search for Prester Jones, who was a Christian in Ethiopia. These were some of the reasons why the Europeans had to leave their continent and come to another man's land. Now, when they got to this coast of Africa, because they made contact with the coastal cities of Africa, modern day Ghana, modern day Nigeria, and Ivory Coast, and all these other coastal cities, they started trading with them bit by bit, because the Africans were cordial. They saw this white man and they were astonished, like, wow, what are these people? What are these? Like, most of them have not seen the white man before, although not all have not seen, but if most of the population had not seen them, because they were all used to seeing black people. But seeing a white man, white hair and co, it was something new. Not that we have not, because we have cases of albinos also already, but this particular species they were seen as, what's up with these people? Okay, well, leave them, then let's see what happens. So gradually they studied the environment, they studied the patterns or behavior of these people, and they got to understand that slavery was a big part of this African society. And African societies as at then, they had no prisons. They had no prisons because everybody was well behaved. We were decent people, although not to say that we were holy, but the established system of prisons wasn't there. So like in the Igbo communities, when someone is found to be guilty of grievous, heinous crimes, the person is sent into the Igbo forest. So these people now brought up a system of, okay, bring those criminals, those your prisoners of war, bring them, will give you this thing in return. And what they normally gave them were guns, as at then, guns. So those guns that they gave them now helped these black Africans in conquering more territories, thereby having more slaves. And we should remember then that the Industrial Revolution was just commencing, was just starting up. So there was need for labor and raw materials to feed the just growing industrial sectors in Europe. They were using the Indians then, but the Indians were not as strong and durable as the blacks. So bit by bit, this thing started in small volumes. It started happening in small volumes, not until 1526 when the Portuguese made it official that now we are going to be dealing in slaves, human cargo. Alright, now other European countries were like, wow, what are these guys doing? What are these Portuguese doing? Well, nah, these guys are benefiting from this business, so let us also indulge and see what happens. It's got to an extent that Britain, they even did it more than the Portuguese, and they overtook the whole business. The ship named Jesus was the first British ship to come and convey slaves from the shores of Africa to Britain. Now, the pattern that was used for this trade was the triangle trade. This was how it went. First and foremost, it started in Africa, the coast of Africa, whereby slaves were gotten. They were exchanged for cotton, rum, guns, tobacco, basically ammunitions. But the basic commodity was guns and ammunitions. Anybody that tells you they were exchanging with mirrors is telling a lie, because we were not new to mirrors. Seeing ourselves was not new to us. We have been seeing ourselves through well-polished irons and aluminiums. We have been seeing ourselves in through streams. So I wonder why someone will now come and give you a mirror and freak you out. The basic goods that were used for exchange was guns and ammunition, and it was highly valued because these guns and ammunition helped in conquering more territories, thereby escalating already existing intertribal wars, which is one of the basic problems we are still having till today in Nigeria, intertribal wars. So it happened that in the coast of Africa, slaves were shipped and exchanged for these goods. They were now taken to the New World, which was Americas. The Espanol, with the Hispania, there is Haiti and co, South America and Americas, where these people were working in factories, plantations, construction companies, construction industries, as in several other sectors developing their own product. Now, the produce from these plantations, which is another point of the triangle, was then sent. This whole raw materials gotten now from the plantations in South America or in the Americas were now sent down to Britain, where they were now processed into finished goods by the just established industrial revolution in Britain. So in exchange, these finished goods were now sent back to Africa in exchange for more slaves. And there was this middle passage between Africa and America, where it is said that the fishes fared well, like the fishes fared well, because the slaves were coming in multitude. So this is a trade that happened for more than 400 years. To give an estimate of the amount of slaves gotten from Central and West Africa will be inaccurate, but it is said that at least 20 million slaves, or rather 20 million Africans, were taken as slaves to the New World, at least, because many of them did not survive the Middle Passage. Some were probably thrown off overboard to make others fear and behave themselves. Some were killed brutally in the presence of others so that the rest could behave themselves. There were great resistance, but to no avail. So that was the triangle trade. The Africans played a very big role in this trade because they were the chief suppliers of slaves. It is only in some coastal areas where the Europeans were involved directly themselves in confrontation with the Africans and capturing slaves. But a major bulk, let's say 90% of the slaves gotten were from fellow Africans. With more guns and ammunitions, more reasons to fight, more reasons to expand your territories. Some families were benefiting from this trade so much that they didn't even care. They didn't even want to stop. They didn't care how their brothers were being treated over there. Some will naively say that they thought the Europeans would treat their fellow brothers over there well. How can a foreigner treat your brother well when you cannot treat your own brother well? You expect a foreigner to come and treat him well. When the foreigner is seeing how ruthless you are treating him, even the process of capturing, so many Africans lost their lives. And it should be known that the ages between 15 and 45 were the most preferred age because those were the labor force. So someone like me, big meat as I then, if I were to be alive, big meat, because I have energy, I can work. So you can imagine, Africans were selling themselves to the white man as slaves in order to get money. The white man didn't really, what he did was wait at the shores, buy. It was the job of the Africans to go into the hinterland, capture slaves, take them, or whatever, how matter the distance, they walked all the distance. They were now saved in a factory awaiting shipment, and when the shipment came, they moved them to go and work. Many of them died, many of them perished, but Africans didn't give a damn so long as they were making their money. It's crazy. What are the effects of the slave trade? Depopulation. The depopulation was so much that it affected the development of the African continent. If a place is not secure, the security of a place is not, let's say now in northern Nigeria where there's Boko Haram, how can there be development there? Nothing will, everything will be halt, on hold. There will be no social gatherings, there will be no economic activities, there will be no cultural activities. Everything will be on standstill. Survival will be the only thing. So a lot of people lost their life. Depopulation, stagnation in development and other activities. Survival became the order of the day. The Europeans got richer. We got deteriorated more and more, more and more, more and more, and we are still deteriorating till today. The influx of, oh yes, the slave trade brought in some goods that were not here before, but that it's not really an achievement. That would have been done on a more even ground. Look at the case of Japan and the Europeans, the Jesuits. They closed their borders for a very long time. When these guys came, what they did was, okay, you benefit from me, I benefit from you. It was a matter of scratch my back, I scratch your back, unlike our own, whereby it was take all. Many European countries got involved into slave trade, and they started creating ships purposely, building ships purposely for transporting slaves, and the supply of slaves never ceased. It's a pathetic situation. Okay, that being said, what are those lessons that are to be learned from this event? Recently, we saw another form of slavery in Libya. So it means we still have these tendencies to do the same thing too. It is not a matter of whose fault is it. It's a matter of understanding what happened and knowing it as part of your history. If the Africans were not ready to sell their brothers and sisters as slaves, there would be no markets for selling them, and there will be no buyers. So we are to blame, not the Europeans. Yes, they were instigating wars and other things, but someone shouldn't come from outside and be telling you about your brother. You should know your brother in your house. Slavery was a dent on our history, and this thing happened for more than 500 years. More than, it is said 400, but it's more than 500, because right from the 1420s they were already buying slaves. It only became official in 1526, and the British took it down to the 20th century when it was now stopped, and then the legitimate trade introduced, and with the coming of legitimate trade came colonialism. So after all these years of stagnation, mentally, physically, emotionally, and otherwise, you now want to now refresh their memories by enlightening them with colonialism. These are part of the problems that we are facing till today, because we have been disoriented. We have suffered a lot. We are only trying to recover. We would recover, but what are those efforts we have been putting in place? Then one would even question, one would even ask, why did this trade carry on for so long? Because the Africans were willing to give more and more. They were not seeing the bad side of it. Some warlords were just like King Jaja for Pogo. He refused to sell his people. Look at what happened to him. He was forced to vindicate his throne and abdicate his throne rather. And he died in Haiti. So others that were willing, a major bulk of people that were carried were the Igbos and the Yorubas. Many of them from Arochukwu, Dahomey, and all these other coastal cities in Africa, in Nigeria. Ivory Coast suffered a lot, Ghana suffered a lot. So there are slave museums in Lagos. I think, yeah, in Lagos, at Badagry in particular, which was a major slave port as at then. What are the lessons we have learned from history? Because at the end of the day, we still stab each other with the same knife on the back. This is pathetic and not good for development, both physically and socially, not to talk of politically as a group of people. This is just an attempt to enlighten you on what your history is all about. I cannot teach you your history. I can only tell you a little bit of what I know. It is your duty to go and know yourself. When you know about yourself, then you know where you're headed. When you don't know, you're a misguided person. You're always trying to be somebody else that you're not. Well, I hope this has taught us a thing or two. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.